Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another Pokemon Go video. And in this one, we are going to be going over two of the top regional picks, which are going to be Bastiodon and Melmetal in this video. So to start this off here, we're going to look at and compare these two in the PvP Poke rankings, and also on the side here, we're going to have our battles playing. We're not going to be commentating over them this time, but we will have them playing. And to give you guys a little note about those, try not to take those too seriously, because those were just test battles with them both, and I seem to do a lot better with Bastiodon. That's just my liking. You might not like how it plays, or you might like how these spammy fast moves of Melmetal work, rather than the slow but heavy damage dealing moves from Bastiodon, like Smackdown, Stone Edge, slow moves but do pretty heavy damage. And that's whatever you choose. So try not to take these battles as like an end-all be-all type thing. You can choose whatever you want, but I'm going to be showing you guys, and we're going to be analyzing and going over which of the two Pokemon has a better role and which one I think plays better in the meta. So to start this off here, we're going to be looking at them both in the rankings of the regionals. So take a look here. They're actually right beside each other. Bastion is just barely edging out Melmetal based on ranking on PvPoke. Bastion's ranked 11th and Melmetal is 12th. And the preferred moveset you're going to want is Smackdown, Stone Edge, and Flamethrower. There's no use for Flash Cannon really there. And then for Melmetal, you're going to want, well, it's only Fast Move, which is that right there. And then its charge moves are debatable. It says here Rock Slide and Flash Cannon, but personally, I would rather go with Rock Slide and T-Bolt. Personally, I don't see much viability in Flash Cannon really, other than maybe hitting. Other than hitting like, you know, the rock types with super effective damage. I mean, yeah, I don't really see a big usage out of that. I'd rather have T-Bolt and Rock Slide. That's just me though. And now let's take a look at them as leads, because I know, yeah, so here Melmetal slightly edged out Bastiodon for leads, probably because of its fast charging quick moves, whereas Bastiodon has like the slow charging ones. And well, Bastiodon is also a good lead, but you just have to watch out for its main counters. Oh yeah, let's take a look at their counters actually. Bastiodon, its key matchups are very similar to Melmetal. So you'll see here its key matchups are Skarmory, Altaria, Golbat, Noctowl, and Lugia. It's going to wall all those. You won't need to shield the thing. And you can pretty much just completely charge energy off of them. So if you're up against any of these, I wouldn't really go for any charge moves unless it's Skarmory. And Skarmory has Flash Cannon, so just watch out for that. And then its top counters in the regionals meta is obviously at number 1 is the OP ranked number 1 Metacham. Then following that is the ground type, which is going to be doing 2 times super effective damage, just like fighting moves. It's going to be Whiscash. And then we have Lucario here. Then Quagsire and Swampert. So there's a few others to be named. Like Venusaur can beat it in a 2-shield scenario, I believe. And then there's other counters, obviously, like the other fighters, Hitmonchan, Machamp, Hitmontop, Hitmonlee, you know, anything that's ground, fighting, water, Hydro Pump, Azu will win against Bastiodon, for example. And then Melmetal, let's take a look here. As you can see, key matchups are very similar, guys. So we got Skarmory, we got Altaria, and we got Golbat. Those 3 were already named for Bastiodon, and then we actually have a Azumarill. So as you guys know, because of that T-Bolt and because of the quick move, T-Shock is what we'll call it for now. T-Shock moves incredibly fast. I don't know the energy per turn right off the top of my head right now, but it is quite fast. It's probably like in either the S tier or the A plus tier. So you do edge out against the Azumarill and then Lugia. So very similar key matchups there. And then its top counters are, weirdly enough, Doug Trio, Breloom, Hitmonchan, Lucario, and Blaziken. I'm not sure why Cham isn't on here, but I don't know, it's a little weird. Cham, not Hitmonchan, just to be clear there. So those are the two comparisons with key matchups and their top counters. So just take those into consideration when you are battling. Those are what you want to mainly watch out for, and you can plan accordingly with partners of these guys to make sure you cover their weaknesses. So yeah, now let's take a look at the battle portion. Well, the battle portions. Let's take a look at custom here, regionals, meta, and let's see how each of these Pokemon do against the meta. So first off, we have Bastiodon. We're gonna run Flamethrower here, and this is the 23 Pokemon that are considered the meta based on PvPoke. So as you can see, we can scroll through this list here. A lot of faces you'll be seeing in the tournaments. I'm not sure why Whiscash isn't on here. It has. Oh wait, no, it is. Never mind. I take that back. Might be. So, in the one shield scenario, you can see Bastion has a lot of wins. So it comes out with 17 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw in the zero shield scenario, which is very positive because it wins any matchup where it's neutral, where it's either dealing or taking neutral damage. It's going to dominate those. So as you can see here, Quagsire, Whiscash, Metacham, Steelix, and Lantern are the main counters there. Because a lot of these one-bar charge moves like Hydro Pump and Earthquake, you will usually knock it out in one hit. Or close to it. And the fast move damage from these Pokemon will finish the job. So, yeah, and then we can scroll through here and see the top matchups it has. It's going to be resisting that poison damage, resisting flying, bug. It's going to be resisting psychic, I believe, as well, and electric. And yeah, so let's take a look at one shield each and see how it fares against the meta. So as you can see, the percentage drops down just a tad bit. It only goes from 17 to 16 wins, and it takes 1 extra loss, being at 6, and still 1 draw, which obviously would be the mirror match. Yeah, it's the mirror match there. As you can see, it still has the same counters, but it will do better against Azumarill. Oh yeah, and here we have Azumarill considering it's running Ice Beam Play Rough. So if that was Hydro Pump Azumarill, then I believe that would be a losing matchup for Bastion. Sorry. Now let's take a look at two shields. And yeah, now is where it decreases a little more in wins. So it comes out with 13 wins, 7 losses, and 3 draws. Still really good for the meta. It's just at this point it's going to not matter because it's going to be 2 times weak to things like Earthquake, counters, any ground moves, and you see Melmetal here can actually beat Bastiodon in the 2 shield scenario, but I believe, yeah, it beats Melmetal in the 1 shield scenario. Bastiodon does, and it should also win in the 0 shield scenario as well. And it does, just barely. So that's close. That is a close one, guys. So those are the winning and losing matchups and ties for Bastiodon. Now let's take a look at Melmetals. So we got Thundershock, Thunderbolt, and Rock Slide as the optimal moveset. And remember, Azumarill is not running Hydro Pump here. So this is a big difference in wins and losses. So in the zero shield scenario, Melmetal only comes out with 12 wins. It loses 9 times and it draws to 2 things. One of which is the mirror match. So as you can see here, it beats things like Charizard, Skarmory, Altaria, Venusaur, Azumarill, Haunter, Tropius, Alolan Bronzong, Frostlass, Sableye, Alolan Marowak, and it ties with Melmetal itself and this Magneton. And then it loses to Bastiodon and then all these other things. It's going to be hard countered by Umbreon, Cham, Quag, Whiscash, and Steelix. Which is to be expected. Those are its hard counters. And now let's take a look at one shields a piece. And yeah, it actually does worse than one shield a piece with 11 wins, 10 losses, and 2 draws. So as you can see, it's still beating the same things. But in this scenario now, it loses to Sableye. It loses to Bastiodon more. And now it also loses to Lantern, which I believe Lantern won in the zero shield scenario. So you guys can see its counters here. Yeah, it's pretty surprising to see it actually goes down. You'd think it, since it can burn the shield quickly, you'd think it would win those matches, but it does not. And then in the 2 shields, it stays the same, I believe. Yeah, 11 wins, 10 losses, and 2 draws. So Bastiodon clearly is the winner of at least the win-loss ratio. Battle, I guess you could call it, in the meta. So on paper, Bastiodon should be the better pick just because it has more of a positive outcome against the meta rather than Melmetal. Let's just take a look at the battle ratings here. So this is where it actually loses to Haunter, where normally it would win. Haunter is just a great shield burner. And yeah, this wraps up the 2 comparisons. And obviously, like I said, we're going to have battles on the side here to show you how I played them too. And I personally like Bastiodon a lot more because let's actually compare these 2 against the same Pokemon. So let's see exactly how this plays out against. Let's bring an example here. Let's put in Skarmory. Yeah, let's do Skarmory here. It doesn't matter that that Melmetal is doing super effective quick move damage because Smackdown is going to do just as much. So let's see Bastiodon here first against Skarmory as the example matchup. And as you can see here, the win rating is heavily in Bastiodon's favor. So let's take a look at. Let's take a look at that 2 shield scenario. So here, as you can see, Bastiodon, you wouldn't shield as a Bastiodon user here. So you know what, let's just actually, since you wouldn't shield as a Bastiodon user, let's do 0 shield to 1 shield. So as you can see here, Bastiodon will make Skarmory burn that first shield with Flamethrower, and it will be doing 5 damage and gaining 8 energy per Smackdown, which is going to chunk slowly away at Skarmory's health. And then Flamethrower is going to burn a shield. Skarmory is going to hit us with the Flash Cannon to do 40 damage. But that's okay. We beat Skarmory to a Flamethrower, which is good here. And then we end up doing a speed tie, Flamethrower vs Sky Attack. Worst case, they get off Sky Attack first and we take 12 damage. It's really nothing. So Bastiodon in this scenario wouldn't even have to use a single shield. Now if you take a look at Melmetal, taking in mind how much health Bastion has left, as 52 health. Let's take a look at Melmetal here. And as you can see, we're putting in the same exact scenario as Bastiodon. And Melmetal will be doing super effective quick move damage, whereas Bastion was only doing neutral. And you're going to see the difference here. So we put them in the same scenario. The Melmetal has 0 shields against a Skarmory with 1 shield. And as you can see, Melmetal only comes out with 11 HP left. So this is where Bastion's tankiness and just its raw damage comes into play. Its total damage output over time comes into play. So as you can see, the quick move from Melmetal, T-Shock, is only doing 3 damage per turn, but it is going to be quicker than Air Slash. It's going to be about 1.5 turns quicker, and it's going to be gaining a lot more energy than Smackdown would. Well, precisely 1 more energy per turn. Smackdown was 8, T-Shock is 9, and it's going to bait Skarmory's only shield with Rock Slide, which is the optimal play you want to be doing here. And then Skarmory's Sky Attack, as you can see, will be doing a lot more damage to Melmetal than it will be to Bastion, because Bastion is 2 times resisting it because of the Rock and Steel typing, whereas Melmetal is only 1 times resisting it because Melmetal is only a pure Steel type. So that means you have a lot more HP and bulkiness on Bastion, which makes a big difference. Especially if you have other Pokemon on your team that require shields. Bastion can just be that tank to soak up damage, charge attack after charge attack, while Melmetal is kind of squishy because of its low level and its high attack, high attack output, or its high attack stat. So as you can see, those Air Slashes are going to be doing a decent amount, 5 damage, 9 energy. And here, Melmetal's Thunderbolt won't even knock out Skarmory just yet. And that is crucial because Skarmory can just barely get off 1 more Sky Attack, which leaves Melmetal only at 11 HP left. So that is basically it for Melmetal. It can barely win this matchup without a shield, whereas Bastion can win it and probably maybe get to a second charge move, whereas Melmetal most likely won't be able to. It is close here, but any smart player would probably bring in a Medicham and finish it off in like 1 hit or so. So yeah, there's not much leeway after Melmetal wins against Skarmory. So that's just to put it into perspective for you guys, the comparison. Let's just do one more. Let's do like Bastiodon versus. Let's do one of the matchups that sways in the favor of Melmetal in most cases. So we have Azumarill here. Let's say it's gonna run. Well, no. Let's say it's gonna run Hydro Pump and Ice Beam and Bubble. So, as you can tell, there's almost no hope for Bastion in any of these matchups. In the 2 shield scenario each, Azumarill will win with a nice little chunk of health left. And yeah, these are the battle ratings. And now let's take a look at Melmetal. This is where one of the matchups is more favorable for Melmetal, obviously because of the moveset. And look, as you can see, Melmetal has a lot more of a chance against Azumarill. Quite a bit more. It actually wins the majority of the matchups. The only one Azumarill can win is without shields, because that Hydro Pump will be doing massive damage and finishing off Melmetal. And it can only win if it has the shield advantage. So yeah, that's where having a Hydro Pump Azumarill comes into play, because if that Azumarill has Play Rough and Ice Beam, um, then Bastion's going to do way better than Melmetal will be. So it's all preference, really, but if we're basing it off, you know, like the entire, or well, the 23 top, the top 23 of the meta, then Bastion will be the better pick here for the meta. So yeah, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for the PvPoke portion of this comparison between Bastion and Melmetal. So to give away the main takeaways from each of these Pokemon, we have Bastiodon, the really super tanky Pokemon that you don't have to use a shield on, like, really ever, unless it's a Hydro Pump or something that's super effective. It will win in any, as long as it's not taking super effective damage, it will be able to win any matchup pretty convincingly without even having to use a shield. So your only real worries are Whiscash, Hydro Pump Azumarill, and any of the fighters. Venusaur with Frenzy Plant can beat you, but Smackdown is just going to be doing so much damage, whether it's resisted or it's neutral. Bastiodon is the king at dealing 1x damage to anything that is neutral to it or super effective. So yeah, that's Bastiodon for you. It's just an overall beast. It's a tank. It does massive damage, and you don't need to shield anything. So yeah, that's that. That's all I can really say about Bastiodon. It's just a monster, guys. So I really highly recommend it. And then we have Melmetal. So Melmetal is definitely the spammier one of the two, but it is a lot squishier, and it definitely can't handle nearly as many hits as Bastiodon can. But the upside to it is that it deals out those aggressive charge moves, and it charges them up really quickly with that T-Shock. And it can provide great shield pressure, whereas Bastiodon isn't really a shield pressure or a shield baiter. It's more of just a raw damage tank. And Melmetal can come out with several matchup wins, whereas Bastiodon can't. One of those examples being Azumarill. Yet Bastiodon can come out with a much harder victory against things like Altaria and Skarmory, even though it's not doing super effective damage for Smackdown. Whereas Melmetal is going to come out on top as well. It's going to be dealing super effective damage all throughout. Yet it's going to lose a lot more health than Bastiodon because of its squishiness. So those are the two trade-offs. Do you want Bastiodon, that's more of a tanky Pokemon and can tank more hits and won't force you to use shields? Or do you want Melmetal, you know, a Pokemon that can provide really good shield pressure, but it's going to be something you're going to have to invest possibly one or two shields in to make it useful. That's your choice to decide. But just either way, watch out for any fighting, ground, or water types. Especially if you're Bastion, watch out for the water ground fighting. If you're Melmetal, ground fighting, fire, you know the deal. You know your typings, I'm sure by now. But yeah, so that finishes it off for this comparison video between Bastion and Melmetal. I'll leave the battle video playing for the rest of this video. And I'll probably leave up a graphic of the two side by side comparing matchups within the meta, so you guys can take a look at that. And yeah, that's the end of this video for now. If you would like to watch the battles for the rest of the video, I would be very happy if you did. If you enjoyed this and you found it helpful, please leave a comment down below, and please don't forget to smash that like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified every single time I upload. And until next time, I will catch you all later. Have a good one, and peace out.